guys, it's Sam, and today I'm sharing 50 facts about me. Now this is kind of in celebration of my reaching 50,000 subscribers, which, if I think about too long, like, makes me anxious. Like, it's just, that number does not, I can't really fathom that number of people watching me on a regular basis. I'm grateful for it, like very grateful for it, so I don't want the lack of like overwhelming enthusiasm to be off-putting. It's just like I don't check my subscriber count very often, number one, and number two, like, it's just not something I really think about because in my head it's just kind of like a nebulous thing. I feel like my community is so much smaller than that because I feel, for the most part, very close to everybody that I like regularly interact with on various platforms and on my content and stuff. But I do want to thank all of you so much for being a part of my time here on the internet talking about books and this community and supporting me for years now and chatting with me and just like being a friend. Like, there's a lot of you that I talk to on a regular basis that I would miss if you were gone from my life. And yeah, I just really love and appreciate you guys in this community, and this community means a lot to me over the years that I've been on BookTube and has really been such a positive experience in my life. So thank you all so much. So I actually asked my Patreon supporters what they would like to see as far as a 50K celebration. If you're interested in contributing to my content in that kind of way, in polls and stuff like that, then I will link my Patreon on the screen. But they overwhelmingly chose the 50 facts about me. I thought they might go for like a Q&A or something else, but this was what won. So this is probably gonna be long, we should probably get into it. I've dawdled enough. Number one, sriracha is the superior hot sauce. I almost have a time in my life that's like pre and post sriracha, and my discovery of it as a delicious condiment. I use it in eggs a lot. I also use it in like burritos and a lot of like Mexican food. So I just deeply appreciate sriracha. I also use it in like different sauces and stuff mixed in to give it a little more kick, because it's like not the overwhelming like flavor that a lot of other hot sauces have. I could just write a love letter to sriracha. Number two, I've never been on a roller coaster, ever, and I probably won't. I feel like I've passed the point of no return on that. The fear is too overwhelming. I have been on water roller coasters, but I don't feel that those count, and even those, like, it takes a lot. Like, I've been on them and I love them, but like I really have to psych myself up to get on one even now, even though like once I do, I keep on like riding them, but like it's just, I just am very fearful. And at this point I'm not, I think I just can't do the roller coaster part. Number three, Tally is my dog's name. Many of you know and follow me on various social media and see her. I talk about her. And her name is actually spelled T-A-L-I, and she is named after a Mass Effect character. She comes up a lot and people respond to me about her, but everyone responds with a different spelling of her name, it seems like. So I just wanted to set the record straight. She is Tally, T-A-L-I, and named after Tally in Mass Effect. Number four, I play songs that I love on repeat. Particularly newly discovered songs on repeat, but I will go back and play older songs. Like, I'm not really a big playlist person. It really is just like the same song over and over, which is really annoying for when I had like roommates or people that I lived with, but I don't anymore. So even back then I would just play the same song, and I actually had a roommate in college who I wasn't really friends with. Be like, can you stop fucking playing that song? And I'm like, no, I won't. It was actually a Pussycat Doll song. But this happens with a lot of music. And I just, even if I go and flip through my songs on my like iPhone, I just flip through them to get to the song I want to play on repeat. Number five, speaking of songs, I have to play Sum 41's Fat Lip on the first day of like spring, or like the first warm day. Like, there's a moment every year, basically since high school, where I roll my windows down because I feel it. Like, I'm like, this is the day. I roll my windows down and I like blast Sum 41. This year I blasted like a number of their songs, but every year it's always at least Fat Lip. Every year. Number six, I have 3 pronounced defined scars on my body, and all of them are from like, 2 of them are from some sort of morbid things, but they're all from like interesting things. So I have a scar, I'm not going to show you all of them actually because it's just going to be a pain in the ass. I have a scar on my elbow that's like a raised, like weird it almost looks like candle wax like dripped on there and created like a raised scar on my elbow, and that's from falling off of my bike when I wasn't riding with a helmet and I got a concussion. So I have nothing on my head from that, but I do have this elbow scar. I also have a scar on my knee. That was from when I was younger, and I was jumping on my grandfather's bed after he died. His body was gone. I was just a small child and like didn't really realize the like thing you shouldn't do that. Like I don't even think it was the same day. It was like a couple days later, but I was jumping on his bed and I jumped off the bed and like scraped down the wall, and it was one of those walls that had like the grit on it. Ooh, fucked up my knee. And then my last and largest scar is from here, like all the way down my side, kind of looks like a shark bite. And that was from surgery that I had on my liver a few years ago to remove a big tumor. That one's my biggest one. But I also like to like, no one's ever asked about that one. Like it's not like I have it out. I mean, it's like my whole torso. But I always want to like create stories like Shark Attack for it if someone ever asks me about it. Number 7, I have been working through my candle collection for probably 2 to 3 years and still haven't burned through all of them. Probably 2 years. I think I started right before I moved out of my house. I had a lot of candles and I would buy them a lot and then not burn them really. I burn a lot of candles in the winter, but now I'm really embracing the like hygge lifestyle, so I like to burn candles even when it's not super cold out, and I've been doing that, and I'm starting to get more candle scents that I like in the home, because for a while there I was buying like summer candles and like coconut scents that I really don't love as like a home smell. Like I like that smell for summer, but I don't like love it as like a home smell or even a perfume. Like I think of it, I associate it with summer, but I don't love it in my house. So now I'm getting more like homey scents, and like working through those even in the summer and like warmer months. So I'm working through all of mine. I'm getting very close because I didn't want to buy any more candles until I work through my current collection. Number 8, PlayStation is better than Xbox in my opinion. That's a fact about me. I'm a PlayStation fangirl. I have only ever had PlayStations, and I do not like the Xbox controller. I'm not opposed to PC. You know, someone's gonna be like, PC Master Race. I don't have the funds or the time to invest in like building myself a computer when I can just play the games I want to play on a PlayStation. And I just love it. There's something about it that just makes me so happy because I've been playing a PlayStation for so long. Number 9, I've been to the Louvre Museum in Paris, but it was at the end of a like 2-week-long trip I took in high school that I saved up for and like didn't have a car for and all this stuff. So it was like the second to last day of our trip, and I was so tired that me and a bunch of my friends like barely saw it. Like we saw the Mona Lisa and like a few other things. I vividly remember a very large room with large paintings of like battle scenes, which was really cool. I stayed in there for a while, but after like an hour and a half of like a whole day there, my friends and I went to like a sculpture room and just sat on a bench, and this was before like smartphones, and just like listened to our iPods for the rest of the time. So I really want to go back to the Louvre, but like I was so exhausted that I couldn't even appreciate this like landmark place that like so many people want to go to. I was just done. Number 10, the first movie I ever remember seeing in theaters is Hercules, Disney's Hercules. I have a vivid memory of my dad taking me in his car to go see it. I think I was like 7. And I feel as though I was 7, but I also like, if I looked it up I would know my actual age at the time. But I feel as though I was 7, and it was a fun time. I still have a soft spot for Hercules, even though a lot of people don't like that movie. Number 11, speaking of Disney, I went to my very first Disney park, which was Walt Disney World, last year for the very first time. I never went to any of those amusement parks when I was younger. We never took any vacations. I lost that part of my childhood, but I still like was really excited to go. Last year I went to Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom, and this year coming up for BookNet Fest I am going to go to Epcot and go to Food and Wine, which is something I'm super excited about. Number 12, this is something that I've talked about a lot and is very much my brand if you've been following me especially recently, and that is I prefer forests over beaches. Beaches are nice, I'm not saying beaches aren't nice, but if I could escape anywhere for a day, it would be a forest. My only complaint about forests, and I was thinking about this yesterday when I was on a hike in a forest, is I hate that experience, which doesn't even always happen in forests, it just happens outside, of like walking and feeling like a spider web. You feel like you walk through like a spider string, and I hate it. So I was deciding that if I was the forest witch that I so desperately want to be, I would specifically create a spell in which all of the spider webs ahead of me would like reform themselves nicely so the spider's home gets protected into a new web that's not in my path. That's what I would use my powers for. Number 13, I am allergic to poultry and tree nuts. So any bird that you can eat, I'm allergic to, which I didn't used to be. It was an allergy that developed when I was in high school. And like literally the week before it developed, I was eating chicken. Like I ate chicken all the time. When I was younger, I had chicken strips, I had like teriyaki chicken, I had chicken all the time. Chicken was my favorite. And then I developed this allergy, which only manifests itself after I'm digesting it. So I can't even like taste it and then spit it out as far as like something on accident. Like whenever I get it, I'm screwed. So like chicken broth, all of that stuff, because it starts in my digestive tract. So it sucks hard. I definitely have to avoid things, you know, like soups and stuff, like buying soup from the supermarket or anything like that, or I have to ask if anything's made with chicken broth. It really sucks. I can still have eggs though. And then tree nuts are any nut that grows on a tree. So not legumes like peanuts. I can have peanuts because peanuts grow on the ground. Tree nuts like pecans, cashews, almonds, all of that grow on trees, and I'm allergic. But that one makes my mouth itch, so I can usually spit it out. But that makes food and eating out a little more challenging than I would like it to be, with desserts usually for nuts, sometimes salads, and then a lot of entrees with like chicken and poultry. Number 14, I used to get hair wraps in elementary school, especially at the county fair. So I'm originally from the Midwest. I'm not sure if this is as big of a thing. I don't believe it is on the East Coast because I haven't experienced it. But in the Midwest, we have county fairs. So every county has their own, you know, fair. And I would go to my county fair and I would get a little hair wrap where they would take this little part of your hair and they'd wrap it up with like string and like beads and stuff, and it would be like really long. So I have multiple school photos of me in elementary school with like my hair wrap like in front and like my hair up. Super cute. Number 15, I went to Warped Tour through most of high school and college every year, and also attended multiple concerts a year. Very much into like the alternative rock, not so much emo. Like emo was starting when I was kind of like getting out of the concert scene, but like very much like the alternative rock, pop punk stuff I would see a lot of. So that the era that I was going to Warped Tour was like the beginning of like Panic at the Disco, Fall Out Boy. So I saw those bands live when they were like really small, which just geeks me out. And I saw them also in like concerts and stuff at like small venues. It just makes me so happy. Like Paramore, Hello Goodbye, Taking Back Sunday, like all of those bands, which I still really like deeply love. I would see a lot of like Warped Tour and go and see them in different venues and stuff. I actually have a very vivid memory of, I think it would have been the end of high school, maybe beginning of college, I forget the exact timeline, but waiting in line to get into a concert, which I think was Fall Out Boy and Panic at the Disco touring together. Last, I think it was the Honda Civic tour, if I remember right, and I think Breaking Dawn had just come out. It was either Breaking Dawn or Eclipse, and me and my friends were reading the Twilight books in line for this concert to be able to get up as far in front as we possibly could. That just really embodies my teenage experience. Number 16, speaking of concerts, my very first concert I went to when I was like 11 was Aaron Carter. Yes, Nick Carter's younger brother who rapped. Number 17, I am a hospice social worker for an inpatient unit at the local hospital near where I live. Sometimes people ask me like, what did you do with your master's degree and what are you working now? And yes, I work in hospice and I love it. Number 18, my Hogwarts house is Slytherin, mostly because of the fact that ambition is one of my most valued personality traits. My ambition is like a defining quality of mine, but not ambition in the way where I step on other people. Like it's very much centered on me and like doing better, and almost sometimes like to my detriment when it gets like a toxic way, like beating myself up over it, not being like productive enough or like always striving to be better. So I don't really focus on what other people are doing ever. It's just like a race against myself all the time. So yeah, ambition is one of my defining personality traits, and one of the defining things of my Hogwarts house. Number 19, I had a lot of hobbies growing up, and none of them ever stuck. I sort of blame this on my mom because she would get, understandably, like, annoyed when I was switching stuff up a lot, and would just be like, okay, we're not doing that anymore. So I played numerous instruments in elementary school. I had a viola, a violin, an acoustic guitar. I played piano. Piano's the one I got the best at, although I wouldn't say I was ever good. I also went after a lot of like artistic things, so I tried like charcoal drawing, watercolors, pastels, things like that. I also did a number of sports. Gymnastics, which my mom pulled me out of after I like created a fit one day about not wanting to go to it, but I was also like 6. And swimming, but swimming I did for a long time until high school, but I just stopped swimming competitively because my high school didn't have a swim team, which sucks since I probably could have like gone to the Olympics or something and like met Michael Phelps. And played soccer, so I had a lot of things, but none of those are really cultivated, and I always felt like, especially in college, I hadn't quite found like what my like passion and hobby was, and I always had like this complex about it where I was like, I don't know what my thing is, like I don't know what I like love. And then now as an adult I firmly have like set hobbies. You know, after I just gave up on trying to find what my passion was, I found those things, and you know, stuff like BookTube and you know, board games and gaming and any of those kind of things, like I found and like firmly solidified as part of my, again, like personality and loves and stuff after I stopped worrying about it so much. Number 20, although I do have a very soft spot for deep dish pizza because I am from the Chicago area, I can't eat it all the time. My favorite kind of pizza is wood fire pizza, so the wood fire pizza that you have in like the wood fire oven. And my favorite like toppings to get, I like to get like a white pizza, so that has like olive oil and garlic as the base instead of a red sauce. And then, you know, like cheese, any kind of cheese. I also like when there's like not just, you know, mozzarella, but maybe like a gorgonzola or something fun. And mushrooms and black olives, and sometimes sun-dried tomatoes and like garlic pieces, depending on the place I'm going, because a lot of places can let you build your own. But that's like the key to my heart. If anyone ever wants to woo me, you can buy me a heart-shaped wood fire pizza with those toppings. Number 21, I cry whenever I see big cats. So like actual big cats, lions, panthers, tigers. Tigers are probably my favorite. When I go to the zoo and I see, like, I go to the zoo really just to see the big cats, like, and especially if there's a big cat exhibit. Like, the Philly Zoo has a big cat exhibit where the cats can walk over your walkway on, like, you know, these bridges and stuff. I love them. Like, I sit there and just cry because, like, I love them. So, and I'm not exaggerating. Like, I sit there and I, like, basically weep because I love them so much. I know I can't, but I just want to touch their big peats and play with their little toe beans. And like big cats, just, I have 2 cats myself, Binks and Kit, and I just look at big cats and I'm like, you're just like little cats, like you do the same things, like they're so cute. And I'm just like, I'm starting to tear up just thinking about them. Like I love them. I love their grace and their cuteness and their furry little bodies. Just love them so much. Number 22, I used to be really obsessed with sound systems in my car, and I used to have subwoofers in my trunk. Yes, I was that teenager that everybody hates because I would be blasting my subwoofers all the time. And it's so annoying to hear that now because you're like your whole car rattles, but when you're in the car experiencing it, it's a great time. But I'm like, stop, ear damage. Like, what were you thinking? But it was a good time with my music-loving days with my subwoofers, rocking out to that bass. Number 23, the first video game that I ever played on like a console game. I've talked about other video games I played on computers in the past. My first like console video game was Crash Bandicoot. The very first Crash Bandicoot I played at my uncle's house because his kids had that game on the first PlayStation, and I played it I think at like a Thanksgiving or Christmas, and I was hooked on games at that point. Number 24, Grey's Anatomy is my comfort show. Now I haven't watched it live, and I barely ever watched it live. I think I watched it live for like maybe a season, maybe 2, but I like caught up on a lot of it. I haven't watched since Christina Yang left because she's my favorite, and I just can't anymore. Like the show, I can't. But those first like 6 or 7 seasons especially, I've watched probably 6 or 7 times, possibly 8. Like if I need comfort, and I haven't done it in a while because I know that I will binge watch the whole series up to that. But if I need like comfort, I will watch that show. Number 25, I am originally from Illinois and I currently live in Delaware on the East Coast of the United States, and I've moved a lot in my 20s. Obviously in college and stuff, I had numerous different like living situations. Then I lived at a house back in Illinois with some friends, and then my best friend and I, like 6-7 years ago, I don't even know how long ago, moved out to Philadelphia, and then I moved down to Delaware after meeting my ex-partner, and then I've moved a couple times in Delaware. Like, I've moved a lot, but I don't think that I will be necessarily staying here in this area forever, so I feel like moving is in my future as well. So number 26, like I just mentioned, I am very unsure if this place is where I want to be permanently. I have for a long time kind of seen myself in the Pacific Northwest or like Seattle, but I don't know. And I also wouldn't mind necessarily moving back closer to home. I'm very conflicted about a number of things. I think personally, if I could pick anywhere and have access to like any resources, I would like live in like Seattle or the Pacific Northwest, but my family is aging and I also am like pulled towards being closer to them when I have the time to, so I'm kind of all over about it, but I don't think that like Delaware is where I want to live and like flourish. I don't really feel like I flourish in Delaware. Number 27, I've recently been exploring and getting into more travel, specifically solo travel, although I just want to travel more in general. I basically told all my friends like, hey, if you're taking a trip and wouldn't mind a friend along, like let me know, because I just want to do more of that. You know, with graduate school and everything, I wasn't really able to do a lot of that, and now I have a little bit more flexibility. This year I already have a lot of like personal travel planned for like weddings and things that are already established, but next year I think I'll be doing a lot more traveling, and I'm planning a lot of on-brand forest trips. I want to go to a lot of different forests in the United States that are big forests and like hike through them and do like day hikes and stuff like that and just like be in the forest. And then I also have some city trips planned. I would like to go to New Orleans. I would like to head up to Canada and maybe do like Quebec area and stuff like that. I have a lot of different places that I'd like to go to, even in the United States, but also then expand to some international solo travel as well. And there's a ton of places that I want to go internationally, so I can't even name all of those. Number 28, I have to have some kind of white noise going when I sleep. Air conditioners or a fan or just like a white noise app. I cannot sleep in complete silence. Also, I think for the fact that like I've always lived generally in places, except for at my like childhood home, I've always lived in places that are a bit louder or like not well insulated. Like I lived in Philadelphia in the city, and my apartment complex right now, as I've talked about on social media, is loud at times, so I feel like I need that to drown out all of the sound to sleep. I also have blackout curtains. Basically sleep in a cave. Number 29, I am an only child, and because of that, I have the trait that I feel like a lot of only children get, where I wasn't really talked down to or treated like a baby or anything. Not that other kids are, but like I just really wasn't. I wasn't around other kids a lot when I was younger until I went to like preschool and kindergarten and stuff. So I always was having like adult conversations or wanted to talk to adults, and I actually, like, I think preschool, my teachers had to call my parents and be like, she only wants to talk to us at recess. Like, we have to force her to go talk to the other children. We need to work on this, you know? So, like, I liked people my own age, but I was always talking to adults because I was used to adult conversations. Number 30, my first job was in a movie theater. I still have fond memories of it, even though I think I got fired from that job, but for a really stupid reason, because if any of you have worked in movie theaters, it's sort of like working in bars as an actual adult, where there's a lot of like drama. Like I don't know why. But because of working in movie theater, I saw a lot of movies a lot of times, because you could see movies for free, or you're watching them like while you were working or whatever, while you were cleaning. And I saw a lot of movies that I wouldn't have seen at all, let alone numerous times. Like, I've seen the newest, not the newest, but the newest as of like the early 2000s, the Peter Jackson King Kong 5 times. I saw Avatar, like Avatar, the blue people movie, 7 times. Like, I've seen a lot of movies that are like not movies that I would have watched so many times because of working in the movie theater around that time. Number 31, on that same note, all of my closest and best friends are from work and not school. So I don't have any like standing best friends I have friends that I will intermittently talk to from school, college. Like, I have no friends from college that I, like, attended college with. I still have friends I talk to, like, from high school occasionally, but not really. All of my friends, like, even, like, A-list and B-list friends, you know, like, the friends that, like, you talk to all the time, the friends that you talk to, like, multiple times a year but don't keep in regular contact with, and then, like, your acquaintances. All of those friends are from, like, work environments or met through people that I worked with. So I made a lot of, some of my best friends are still from that movie theater job. I also worked at Panera after that movie theater job. That's where I met Amanda, who you guys have seen in a lot of videos. And then a lot of my friends currently are from BookTube, which isn't work, but I still sort of classify it in the same kind of lens because we're like friends and colleagues, like we were in the same environment. So all of my best friends are from that, and none of them are from school. Number 32, mustard in all of its forms is superior to ketchup. I do not like ketchup. I do not dip fries in ketchup. I do not put ketchup on sandwiches or burgers or anything. I don't even know what I use ketchup for. I don't even own ketchup. I don't like ketchup. I have like 5 different kinds of mustard. I like me a good yellow mustard on like hot dogs and such, but I also am a big fan of honey mustard, Dijon. Really, if I see a mustard, I'm gonna like it. Number 33, you may think from my wardrobe choices that my favorite color is black or gray, but you would be wrong. I just happen to like the aesthetic of that, but my favorite colors are actual colors, and they're all jewel tones. Like royal purple, royal blue, cerulean, emerald, garnet, like all of those deep, basic, I just realized, basically colors with black dropped into it are my favorite colors. All of those. Like, those are colors that I will actually wear. Like, I have more jewel tones for, like, work and stuff because I love them so much. Number 34, I love woodsy scents. So, usually these scents tend to be a little bit more androgynous, but I like, patchouli and bergamot and sandalwood and scents like that. Pine, balsam, all of those forest scents. But some of my, like, signature scents that I wear a lot are the Elizabeth and James Nirvana Black perfume, and then 2 perfumes by Replica, one that I've recently discovered. The one that I've worn the longest, like for less than a year, but that I've worn recently, has been Replica by the Fireside, which literally smells like you're roasting marshmallows by a fireside, but it's more like woodsy, like you smell like that, like smoke. And then I recently discovered Replica Soul of the Forest. See these themes here? And that is just like, I think the description has stuff like sap and moss and like some of those scents. It's so freaking good. But the problem with the Replica scents is that a bottle is like $180. So your girl keeps getting either rollerballs or going in and just getting samples, because I haven't yet been able to like justify getting that, even though I know that it would last me for years, because I still have like perfume bottles from high school of like Burberry Brit and stuff that I still have around. So I could do that investment and it would last me forever, but like, it's so expensive. Number 35, I was mostly raised in religious schools. So for like my younger schooling, and then I went to public school for 2nd and 3rd grade, and then 4th grade on, I went to religious Lutheran schools actually. So in my area, you basically have religious private schools or public schools, and there's really like no in between. The public schools are notoriously bad for in this part of the country where I was from. So I went to religious schools, and I am not a religious person, and I think going to religious schools is why. I don't actually have a problem with religion. I have a problem with what people do when they get into groups and they institutionalize religions, because I know a lot about Christianity now over the years, and there's a lot of really good things about it, but when you get people in groups and they become dogmatic about it, and they even teach things incorrectly about it, like I had a lot of teachers who weren't necessarily the religion teachers, although they were the worst, who would teach things about Christianity that are just like not right, or like are in the tone or theme of persecuting others, or are just not good. So I have very poor experiences of some of the racism, sexism, misogyny, all these things that came out of religious schooling and what was like shoved down my throat as a child. And yeah, so institutionalized religion, no for me. That's gonna be a no for me. But the religions themselves, I don't have a problem with. Number 36, speaking of religion, sort of. The one tattoo that I'm thinking about potentially getting in the future that I'm not sure if I can or not because my skin sometimes, a lot of the time, tends to keloid scar, so getting a larger tattoo I'm not sure would be necessarily good. But I am deeply considering a Persephone-themed tattoo with a lot of the symbols of Persephone on it that would go, like, up here. Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. Number 37, I don't watch primarily BookTube on YouTube. I really flow through a lot of different themes of videos and my subscription box changes a lot. I have a variety of things in there. I have BookTube, for a while I had a lot of fitness videos, although I've kind of gotten away from that because I'm doing some recovery with some disordered eating that I was having. But I had fitness videos and like some like cooking stuff. I'm not really doing a lot of cooking videos right now either because I'm just ebbing and flowing away from it. Always makeup videos, like always the beauty community in some capacity, but I tend to follow a lot more chill beauty gurus and not like the biggest ones that are like having a lot of drama all the time. And some travel channels as well. And I religiously watch this channel called Disney Food Blog that talks about Walt Disney World mostly and food and attractions and things like that. Even though I just started going to Disney like last year once and I don't know how often I'm going to go in the future, I just find the content very soothing. Number 38, on that same kind of track with me talking about all of my like themes of channels kind of changing a lot, I get very obsessive about hobbies or anything that involves research. So if I become like intrigued by a new topic, I just like really dive into that in an obsessive way. I will do a lot of research about things that I buy in an obsessive way. If I just discover anything new, get into any kind of topic, like the times I've gotten into fitness in the past or any really kind of hobby, hiking, anything like that, I like dive into it and surround myself in it, or even like ideas like body positivity, like we'll watch all the videos, we'll read all the content, we'll find the Reddits for it, we'll like listen to podcasts, like it's all I do to the point where I like, then burn myself out and get to like normalcy about it, where it just becomes an ingrained part of myself, but I have to like overdose on it before I do that. Number 39, I am someone that keeps multiple tabs open on my computer all the time, like on my internet. I'm one of those people that has like so many little tiny bars. You can't even see what each of them are. You're gonna see the logo and that's how I know what it is on my desktop at all times. It stresses me out, but I just can't find the strength to close them. What if I need that reference? I can't put it in my favorites, I'll forget about it. Number 40, when I was younger, I really never lived alone, and I was always a little bit nervous about it, mostly because I'm anxious and I was like, what if I have a panic attack and then I have no one to talk to and I freak out alone? But I've been living alone since October and it's wonderful. I actually think about like, man, if I start dating in the future and like someone wants to move in, I'm gonna be like, I want my space. I just love being able to like cultivate my own space and recharge my own space and everything being mine. And I know I'll probably get to a point again where I'll be willing to accept another person into my life and space if I like them enough. But right now I'm just like, ah, so nice. Number 41, I am a power lifter, and I've been a power lifter for quite some time. I've always done weightlifting as my fitness of choice ever since I got into it back in like 2012, 2013. And I've taken different bouts of other kinds of weightlifting, but powerlifting is my main, always thing that I go back to. I never really want to compete. I mean, never say never, but I don't really feel like I want to compete, but I always kind of, like I mentioned before, want to compete with myself, and lifting as heavy of weights as possible is so fun and so rewarding. Like if I'm having a day where I'm feeling like bad about my body or just like stressed out or something, and I go and lift a ton of weight, like over my own body weight, deadlifting or squatting or something, it just makes me so happy. Number 42, I have had panic disorder for my entire life. I've had like, I also have generalized anxiety, but I don't take medication for that specifically because over my life of having panic disorder, I've found ways to manage generalized anxiety pretty well at this point in my life, although I wouldn't be against meds or anything. But I am on anxiety medication for panic attacks that I take as needed for panic attacks. And I'm saying that because it changed my life. I've talked about it in the past, but in case anyone else needed to hear it, I went through like 26 years of my life having debilitating panic attacks. Things that I would avoid certain situations. If I was having a panic attack, I would then have them like daily for months. Horrible, horrible panic disorder, and now I have a medicine that even knowing that I have it there for my access makes it so that I don't tend to escalate to panic attacks very often anymore. So I highly support medicine if that's something that you have access to, and if you're scared of, to at least try. It's not for everybody, I totally get that, but I think that there's so much stigma against it when it is so helpful, and it's something that like has really helped make me who I am today because I'm not living in like a scared shell like I used to. Number 43, I used to be a night owl, and I would talk about this all the time. I used to stay up till like 3 and 4 in the morning, even on work days, and then do like a series of naps. Like, I was somebody that I never thought I would ever get a normal sleep schedule. And I even was doing that up until like my mid-20s, up until just like maybe a year or two ago, like maybe just last year, I don't know. But in the last like year or so, I have gotten to the point where I like waking up earlier. I'm not somebody that like loves waking up at 5 in the morning or anything, but I usually wake up around like 5:30 or 6 and go to the gym and stuff on the days I go to the gym, or just take the time to get ready in the morning, maybe do some reading, just like not rush. And I used to be somebody that like woke up as late as possible, would rush to get ready, be running late, and I never believed people that were like, oh, it's so nice to wake up in the morning and just like kind of relax. And now that I have a job I think that's so intense, it is nice to have the morning for me because I don't know if I'm going to be too exhausted to do anything for me by the time I get home. So I think that's part of it, but I also just like, I start getting ready for bed at like 7:30 at night on weeknights. I stay up a little later on weekends to like 11 or midnight usually, sometimes depending, but on the weekdays I'm getting ready for bed at 7:30. I'm trying to get like in bed by like 8:30, read until about 9:30 if I'm very engaged, and like go to bed. And it's so weird because I never thought I would be this person. Number 44, I am fascinated by sculpture. I'm not particularly into any other kind of art, but I find the craft behind sculpture so mesmerizing. Like, there's something about it, and I really discovered this when I was reading I'll Give You the Sun by Janny Nelson a few years ago, and there's a big like sculpture element in that, and I just love it. And I love seeing like sculptures at museums and stuff, like the old like ancient Roman, ancient Greek type stuff of like all those gods and goddesses. Like, I just love sculpture in a way that I don't love like painting or any other kind of art quite as much. I still find a lot of those things beautiful, but something about sculpture, and especially like marble, fascinates me. Raw banana, just like eating a banana, makes my mouth itch. I don't know what it is. I used to eat bananas a lot. Now they make my mouth itch. I can still have them like smoothies or like banana bread, which is amazing, one of my favorite desserts. But just eating a banana, just like my mouth gets all itchy. I don't know what it is. 46, speaking of desserts, caramel is the best dessert quality, addition, whatever. Anything with caramel is superior in my opinion. Caramel and chocolate and any kind of candy. Honeycombed type caramel, or like the soft, like, you know, gooey caramel. Caramel in any ice cream. Caramel in like cakes or like brownies or anything like caramel. It is superior. I still like chocolate, but chocolate is a step below caramel, and mint is like a step below that. And you heathens who are mostly British that eat like orange in desserts, that's at the bottom. Just so you know, that's at the bottom of my list. Speaking of desserts, let's just continue with this. Number 47, I am constantly seeking out s'mores desserts, like s'mores flavored desserts. They've become very popular in the last couple of years. A lot of restaurants have them now, but the problem I find is that they usually have a chocolatey base, like a chocolatey cake base or something, and that is false, because the majority of a s'more, when you're eating the s'more, is actually the graham cracker. And then like the marshmallow, and then like a small bit of chocolate. And I have never been able to find a dessert that quite has those proportions. The only thing I've been able to find that's like pretty close is the s'mores flavored Pop-Tart. But I want like a decadent s'mores dessert, and people keep giving me damn chocolate cake, and I am mad. So I'm on a lifelong journey to find a wonderfully made s'mores dessert that has the proper proportions of ingredients. Number 48, my original fandoms and loves show-wise are Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Dawson's Creek. I discovered them at the same time. I loved them at the same time. I went a lot harder for Buffy because, as you guys know, I tend to just go harder for like sci-fi and fantasy things. So I would write Buffy quotes on my notebooks in 8th grade. I got an autographed picture off of eBay of Spike and Drusilla I loved a lot of things. I had a fake steak. I had an angel poster. Like, a lot of things with Buffy and Dawson's Creek, but I was also real loyal to Dawson's Creek and watched a lot of those actors and other things because I loved it so much. So my contemporary love and my like sci-fi fantasy love, those two forever. Number 49, my alternate career path would be like an event planner, but more specifically a wedding planner. I almost went into this and I could see myself doing that later on and being a wedding planner after like I retire from being a social worker. I actually really love weddings, and most of my friends have not gotten married, and I'm like, I'm your friend that stands weddings so hard and none of you get married. Great. Wanting to do event planning and being fairly good at event planning is probably what got me into BookNet Fest, which is the book community festival that is in our 3rd year that Mari from My Name is Marinette and I created 3 years ago, and our 3rd year is coming up in September, so I will leave a link on the screen about that if you're interested in attending. And number 50, I cry at basically any performance. Not on like TV, but any live performance. So like concerts sometimes, but like plays, anyone like playing an instrument, I get very misty. It doesn't matter if I'm supposed to cry. At the end of like any play or performance, live performance, I cry. I do tend to cry, I think, like when you get like ovations, standing ovations and stuff at concerts and stuff even. I just really am moved by live performance, man. Alright, so that is my 50 facts about me. Comment them below and let me know if any of these were interesting or surprising to you, or if any of these match your thoughts as well. I would love to know, and thank you again so much for 50,000 subscribers. Because that scares me, I don't want to say it anymore. But thank you so much for the support. I love you guys so much. Oh, speaking of, I should probably mention this. I'll mention this in another video too because I don't know how many of you are watching this until the very end. But I will be at BEA and BookCon this year. So if you see me, come say hi because like I mentioned earlier, I love to meet people from my community, and you guys, I feel like I know you guys and I just really like to meet you in person. So if you see me out of BEA or BookCon, please know that whatever I'm doing, you are not bothering me unless I'm literally in a bathroom stall peeing. In any other capacity, you can talk to me. So please do, and I'll talk about this again just to let people know, but I would love to meet you and I'd love to see you and I'd love to give you a hug. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye.